Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel. My name is Theo Torvek, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, feel free to do so by hitting the subscribe button, and also make sure that you hit the notification icon so that you get a message every time I drop a video. I drop videos every Sunday at 6 a.m. so stay tuned. On today's video we are going to install these suspension springs, lowering springs, however you want to call them, onto my beautiful M3. So let's go ahead and tackle this DIY. You may ask yourself why I went with these specific springs or what springs these are. These are the Emmanuel Design Springs, formerly called EMD Springs. And the reason I went with them is because these springs are said to retain the right comfort quality from the OEM springs. And these are linear springs, means that whenever they squeeze evenly on all the areas. And also the one thing that I love about them is the fact that they give you this little spacer cup that you can place on the back, so the back is not completely tucked. I did not want my springs to be totally tucked on the back. My main focus actually is the front. That's the one that I really want to see lowered, but the back, even if I cannot install these, I will be fine with the way the back sits already. The front springs will provide a drop of 1.3 inches, while the back, when you are not using the spacer cups, will provide you a drop of 0.9 inches. When you are using the cup, it raises the car a little bit and give you a drop only of 0.3 inches. So this is what we are going to do today, because I don't want my back completely tucked. I like to see the tires. I just want the tires to be very close to the wheel arch. Before we go ahead and install the springs, let's measure the way the ride is at the moment. Since I'm keeping the same ways, I'm going to measure from the ground to the wheel arch. So we have about 27 inches here, 27 and 1/8 inches here on the front. So 27 and 1/8 on the front. On the back we have about 26 and 3/8. So the back is from factory, the back is lower than the front. Now you understand why I don't want to drop the back too much, because the front is also going to drop, and after that it's going to be even, and I won't have the reverse rack. The first step is to jack up your car, remove the tires, put your car on jack stand, and after that you have to remove, right now I am working on the driver's side, you have to remove these 10mm screws right here. It's only quarter turn, so once you put it and then you turn it like this, that's it, it unlocks. So no need to go further, that's it. And on this end, that's it. And then you should remove one rivet here, but it looks like I'm missing like the little rivet piece here, so let's go ahead and remove this cover. The next step is to remove some more rivet. So you have one right here, you have one right here, one right here, and one here again. I am missing the cup here, the head I meant to say. So to remove the rivet, pretty much what you do is you take your tool like this, you place it inside, pull the rivet head out like that. Once it is out, you can hold it, and then you take again that same head, put it now under. Actually it's better to do this way, put it under and then lift. That will lift the whole piece, and once the whole piece is removed, you can remove this head right there and secure it in your pocket. If you have EDC, you will have this. If you don't have EDC, then this step it's not for you. So we pretty much want to go ahead and remove this sensor cover and pull the sensor. There you go, and then go ahead and keep that on the side. Let me take you on a quick tour of the things that we are going to remove. So the first thing we will remove, this is the sway bar end link right here that I'm pointing. We're going to remove that. That is a 16 millimeters. We're going to remove these brake lines right here. We are going to unplug the sensor right here, and also unplug that wire hanging there. I will show you all the process, and then after that we are going to drop the suspension when we remove this bolt right here. Those are the only things that we are going to do. And on the driver's side, you also have a leveling sensor, which is right here. We also need to remove that. That's a 10 millimeters here. Go ahead and position your jack right here on the bottom of that arm right there, and jack it up to the point where the jack is actually about to lift the car, but you don't want it to lift the car. You just want it to compress the springs, because we are going to remove that top bolt, the strut bolt in there. Let's make sure that we remove this sensor, unhook these wires from here, and also this brake wire will also unhook it from this bottom here. You can't really see it, but under there you will see it. And last but not least, we go ahead and remove the sensor, squeeze the tab and remove, and also clip it here. Alright, so to remove the sensor, you pretty much just pull this tab here and then pull it. Alright, so next let's go ahead and remove that leveling sensor. Before removing that leveling sensor, since we're working up here, let's just go ahead and remove the sway bar. Well, sometimes if you have a wrench, a 16mm wrench, you can put it here, lock the bolt with the T30 and remove it. But I don't have a 16 wrench, I have a 16 socket. So let's see if I will be able to break it. I kind of did it earlier. All right, so let me go ahead and remove that. If you cannot remove the sway bar, when you are dropping the spring at one point, it's actually going to get loose, and then you can remove it at that point. Go ahead and remove the sensor. For this is a 10 milli. So while you do the 10, you hold the 10 milli with the screw like that, with the socket. On the other side, you hold the bolt with a 9 millimeter so it doesn't spin, and you go ahead and remove it. Alright, so after that you just go ahead and remove it and leave it on the side. Now, using a 18mm straight socket or 18mm 12-point socket, go ahead and unscrew the bolt in here. So what you want to do now is gently lower the jack. It's going to remove the tension and the pressure on the springs, and that will help with the process of removing the springs. So at this point right now, the sway bar can be removed because I saw that it is loose. Here it is. I just removed the sway bar, I put it on the side, and then I continue to lower the control arm gently. Now just go ahead and remove the springs, as you can see right here. Here is the EMD front springs, and here is the factory spring. You can see that it is much higher, so you can see that this is smaller. So let's go ahead and mount this on the shock absorbers thing. When doing this step, it is important that you do it correctly. So you want to put this inside, and you want to make sure that the end of the spring here, I'm not sure if you can see that, the end of the springs here touches the end of this end right here of that sharp little thing. So it has to sit this way, and then when you mount it on the strut on that side, there is another end that this one needs to sit just like this one right here. So it is very important that you do it the right way. And also that yellow thing, we also have it in there. So here is that part that I was mentioning. You can see here that it is touching that rubber piece, and on the top here it is also touching the rubber piece. This is exactly how you mount it. Now we'll go ahead and route the strut all the way to that hole on the top side here, so that the bolt can come here on the top. And to help ourselves, I want to say, we will use the jack to lift the arm all the way up in the holes. But first we need to make sure that we put that hole back in there. Again, check again to make sure that the springs are sitting on those grooves that I mentioned earlier. When you have it a little up, check the top here to make sure, check the top here to make sure that it is coming on the screw, and guide it. Alright, and now go ahead and continue to jack it up. Go ahead and mount the screw now here on the top. You can first start by tightening with your hand just to make sure that, you know, it kind of like in the screw. Now using again this socket here, the strut socket, and the 18 millimeter, go ahead and tighten it furthermore. Now using a torque wrench, torque it to 25 foot-pound of torque. Go ahead and put the sway bar bolt and tighten that to 44 foot-pound of torque. Now go ahead and put the leveling sensor under there as well. Go ahead and plug back all the wires and put everything back in the groove just like you remove them. Go ahead and mount everything in the reverse order that we did to remove them. So on the last piece here, again remember, half a turn. Alright, we mounted everything here on the front. So now the rear of the car is pretty simple. There's only one bolt that we need to remove, which is this one holding this arm, and this is a 21 millimeter. So what you use is you use an impact gun with a 21 millimeter socket on this end, and then on the other side you use a 21 millimeter wrench to hold the nut right there while you are removing it. So it is also a good idea to go ahead and hold the arm with a jack. So don't make sure that it's not lifting, right? Just make it there so that it is there, so that you can hold the arm when the bolt is removed. So let me go ahead and remove that bolt right now. Now gently remove. Oh, actually I forgot, there is a leveling sensor here that we have to remove. I forgot to remove that. That's again just like the front, that's a 10 millimeter. So let me go ahead and remove that. So now just go ahead and remove the spring from the housing with a simple. As you can see, the EMD spring is shorter than the factory spring, and I decided not to use these spacers because I want the bottom to be tucked. After I dropped the front, I saw how tucked it was. I loved it, so I want the back to be exactly the same way. So I'm not going to be using this. If I see that it is too tough, I might revisit to add this one at another time. But this is pretty much how different in height these are. So go ahead and now transfer these and then mount this spring just the same way that we removed it. Once it is completed, go ahead and tighten that specific bolt right there to 120 foot-pound of torque. It is important that you torque that to the correct spec, and that's the same this side and that one right there. So I've done it. Now it's time for me to drop. I've put the wheels also, as you can see, and see how low this thing is. Just like we did in the beginning, let's go ahead and measure now after we drop the car, you know, the distance from the ground to the archway. Now we have 25 and 3/8 on the front. 25 and 3/8. Before it was 27 and 1/8. Now it's 25 and 3/8. The back is also 25 and 3/8. That is awesome. Both front and back are now even. Yeah, man, I love it. So on the back here, it is very tucked, as you can see here, and my finger cannot even go. I mean, there's some play. I will let you know definitely if it rubs. But other people mentioned that this exact setup does not rub. Again, I have a 15mm spacers and people run it like this. Let's check the front. The front is also very nicely tucked, but the front I can put my fingers, as you can see, in there, and that's because, you know, you have to have some play on the front. And again, I don't think this is going to rub, and I have 15mm spacers on the front as well. So I have 15mm spacers all around, and I think it turned out very, very well. Alright YouTube, you saw I installed the EMD lowering springs on my car. It turned out very great. I took it for a quick test drive, and it is nice. Since I don't have alignment right now, I don't want to take it too far. I'm going to let the car sit for about a week so that it can settle very well. Then I'm going to take the car for an alignment. After the alignment, I would drive the car around and then give you guys the review on another video. I cannot do the review right now because I need alignment. I don't want to mess up my tires and stuff like that. So how do you think that this was? I think it was easy. It just took me a little bit of time because, you know, it's first time doing all of this type of work, and we were successful. So again, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, and also see you on the next one.